gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and today I'm going to show you how to solo Stilicho, Last of the Romans. This is a game published by Hollandspiele. It is designed by Robert DeLeskie. It's the same system as, and the successor to, Wars of Marcus Aurelius, which, as y'all know, is a game I really like. So I'm not going to play out a whole game, but I'm going to walk you through some of the different stuff you can do in Stilicho and give you a sense of the game's flow. So here's the game all set up. Just as in Wars of Marcus Aurelius, we have some enemies who are headed towards us to make some trouble, and it is up to us to figure out how to beat them back. You win the game by making sure that all of the enemies are surrendered. And in order to get an enemy surrender, you have to push them all the way back to their home space and defeat them there. While we were dealing with the Germanic tribes for the Marcomannic Wars last time in Wars of Marcus Aurelius, this time in Stilicho, our enemies are the Goths, the Vandals, and Constantine III, the usurper, who initially can't attack us, but it never lasts. So while our goal is simple, just make all the enemies surrender, it'll be easy, there's so many ways to lose this game. One of the most common ways that I lose is Olympius just gets me over here on my execution track. So Olympius is our friend over at Rome who really enjoys talking smack about us and dripping poison in the emperor's ear about us and wants us to die. So he, every time we do something wrong, or he can just twist anything that we did is wrong, will escalate until he can finally get us executed. We fortunately do have an advisor over here, Symmachus, who is on our side and will try to pull Olympius back in the city house. But, well, sometimes you have to waste a lot of resources to get Olympius to shut up and leave you alone. Meanwhile, Constantine III, the usurper, has a fairly easy way to get you if you are not careful with him, and that is if he enters the walled city of Ravenna, he will go from usurper to de facto ruler, Honorius is deposed, and you die. So you do not want him to get into Ravenna. So specifically what he has to get into, by the way, is the walled city of Ravenna. As you can see, I've placed some garrisons here to force a siege if an enemy wants to enter. And our sieges aren't really that powerful, I'm sorry to tell you, but at least they, buy us a little time until we can get over and fight. While we're dealing with all that, you are still able to lose just from pure unrest in the provinces. So throughout the game, there will be cards that cause you to add unrest to certain provinces of the Western Roman Empire. And those little outbreaks of unrest can flip over into straight up revolt, which you will then have to use your energy to suppress, even though you might have to deal with Olympius or push people back to their space so that you can make them surrender. So it's just another way to waste your resources and make you try to keep your head in the game. And on top of that, your own armies are perfectly capable of mutinying against you because they want more money, or they don't trust you anymore, or just any number of problems that you have if you were a Roman general. So you also have to control the possibility of mutiny, because once your soldiers are lost, you lost. And the other way to lose is just running out of time. If you miraculously make it all the way to turn 10, but still can't get all 3 of your enemies to surrender, you just haven't done your job. But that's a better outcome than the real Stilicho, who was executed on turn 3. So the goal of this game is to try to beat history. So here I am all set up to play Stilicho. One thing I am going to do is, so I have 2 red dice that came in this box. I'm going to replace one of them with one of my own dice so that I have different colored dice for resolving battles. That's one little fix that I recommend when you play this game, is make sure you've got 2 different dice, so that when you do a battle roll, you're not like, oh, which one was me, which one was them? So this game is all set up to go. We've got our Goths in their starting spot of Pollentia. They are on their 5 side, so this is the emboldened side. They can be demoralized depending on how things go later. And this is also their weaker counter. They actually have one that is 6-5 instead, so you want to deal with them before that one pops out onto the board. The Vandals are in the same situation. They have their 4-3 counter, which we definitely want to take advantage of before they switch to their 4-5. And then Constantine III is chilling up here for the moment. He can't attack us, but that's not going to last very long. The moment we get a card that would activate him, that gets removed, and then it's on. I've put one of my leaders in each box. So I've got Stilicho here, hoping for a big run against the Goths. And then I've got Sarus here going up against the Vandals. So there are 3 different colored boxes. You've got the purple one for Constantine III, but since he can't attack right now, we're not worrying about it. We've got our buddy Sarus here, and I'm in green as Stilicho. We also have Constantius, who will come out later, hopefully, and help us against Constantine III. He actually, in real life, tricked Constantine III into surrendering. Ha ha ha. And then we have these Komita Tenseis here that are kind of out of the game. Hopefully be added later. So your Komita Tenseis are your little soldier units. You can't have more than 6 in any one army. Right now I've got 5 with Stilicho, 4 with Saris, and then 3 of them have been turned into garrisons. So when you do your initial deployments, you can choose where to put garrisons, and these will basically keep our enemies out of our walled cities just a little bit longer. Sieges don't usually go in your favor for very long, but they can help you make the enemy waste a turn or two while you redeploy your resources to come and get them. So the way this game works, each turn takes place in 3 rounds. So in the first round, our enemies will get to draw 3 cards and resolve them, then we'll get 5 cards. In round 2, our enemies get 3 cards and we get 3. Then in round 3, oh no, the enemies get 3 and we get 1. That stinks. And then we'll go to housekeeping and start again. So sometimes we have a bit of a card advantage, sometimes quite the card disadvantage, and it hurts. It hurts. But let's go ahead and play out 1 full turn, and I think that should be enough for me to walk you through how the game works, how it looks, and get you ready to go play yourselves, which is an activity I highly recommend. All right, so let's go ahead and draw our first enemy card, see what it is. So this is a mixture of events and activations, and we'll talk all through that as we look at these cards. All right, so the first thing we got is an activation from the Goths. Oh no. So instead of putting it here and drawing enemy cards, we're putting it in the surge spaces. So basically when the surge spaces fill up with these enemy activation cards, you are going to have them all activate all over again. So right now this bottom left box is the one that we're looking at, and it just tells us that the Goths activate. So they're gonna move from Pollentia to Fiesole, and they're just moving towards Rome. So we definitely want to hit them in the face shortly, but that's what they did for now. When they have a surge, they will activate again based on this card. So got to keep an eye on that. Let's take another card. Oh no, it's another Goth activation. Ehu. Okay, so now they're in the siege space. So they've already made it all the way to Rome. Olympias is going to be ticked off, and we have to do something about it. And then when they surge, they'll not only activate again, but they'll force the Olympias tracker up. So thanks, Goths, jerks. And I'm moving this over because even if you have a surge in the middle of a turn, you still have to activate 3 enemy cards. So it's best to know how many cards you drew and resolved so you can finish your turn after you do a surge. So I know I've drawn 2 cards. So there's only 1 more to draw this particular enemy turn. And dear God, don't let us have a surge. Come on. So nothing's going to happen with this siege just yet. The next time the Goths activate, they will of course attack Rome and try to enter the walled city. What happens once they get in there is that every time the Goths activate while they're in Rome, it pushes Olympias further up the I want to kill you track, and that's not great. So we need to get them out of there. But for now, they have been stopped, and we have 1 more card to draw. All right, so this one is Mutiny. So basically we're going to roll 1 die, embolden the indicated enemy. Oh, they all started on bold, so that's not going to do anything. And then we're going to add a mutiny to that front. Oh no. Okay, so Constantine III, there could be a mutiny on that front, the Goths or the Vandals fronts. So basically, we're going to have to roll and see which of our armies wants to be a pain in the rear today. All right, so let's give it a roll. All right, so we rolled a 4. Unfortunately, that means the Goths are in mutiny. Well, the army on the Gothic front is. And I was planning to use Stilicho to deal with some Goth garbage in this next turn. We're going to have to deal with it. But that just means I can show you how to put down a mutiny. Just more things to show you in this lovely game. I really love it. All right, so we're going to put this mutiny here on the discard. The enemy turn is over. Now it's our turn. Thank goodness. It's about time we got to do something. So we get to draw 5 cards. And just as in Wars of Marcus Aurelius, these cards are interesting because you can basically play them for the text, or you can discard them to take various actions. And I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of what the actions are after we have a look at our cards. So this means there's a history event if there's a laurel on it, so those don't stay in the deck forever. They're a one-time use. But this one's allies in the Senate. Olympias retreats 2 spaces. So if I really need Olympias to back up, I can do that. One of the problems with getting this card this early is that Olympias hasn't gone that far yet, and it's like, well, do I really want to use this card to mess with Olympias when I can use it to fight? And I'll probably discard it and then regret it later when Olympias gets my head cut off. All right, so this is just an action card, discarded to take an action, very basic. Frankish mercenaries. So if you see the swords, it means it's going to help you in battle. So if you want to fight, take a look at that text. So this is +2 to Roman attack value. You play this card before calculating the total enemy attack value. So if you want to hire some mercenaries, make it easier to win a battle, not a bad choice. The Franks attack the Vandals. I can make the Vandals retreat 1 space. So basically some of these cards allow you to, just like in history, pit one tribe against another. Interestingly, by the way, once Constantine III starts to advance, it's possible that he and the Vandals will collide. And there are also spaces where he and the Goths will collide with each other. And that is hilarious because then they fight each other and you can get some of your enemies to do your dirty work for you. So here you can remove up to 2 unrest or revolts. So if you're having problems, use Agentes and Rebus to go and settle things down for you in the provinces. And those are the cards that we have. Tip about hand management, you're not allowed to end a round with more than 5 cards in your hand, and you can't go from turn to turn with more than 1. So you have to discard down to 1 card by the end of your round. Now that it's our turn at last, let me walk you through what the options are, and then we'll choose some of them and spend our cards because that's what you do. All right, so if you're not playing a card for the event, you're discarding it, and there are several things you can discard it for. The most common one is going to be to attack an enemy. We're going to be doing a bunch of that this turn once I deal with this mutiny, which I'll also show you how to do. So when you attack an enemy, basically you enter a battle scenario where you're calculating your leader value and the value of your comitatenses against the value on the enemy chip that you're going up against and any sort of local defenses they might have. So the Goths get a +7 modifier in their home space, which is why it's so hard to get enemies to surrender. But attacking an enemy is going to be a common thing you spend your cards for. Just go for it. When attacking an enemy, there's something really nice that you can do, which is after rolling a die, you can actually discard cards in your hand to influence the outcome of the battle. So if it was a pretty close battle but you lost, you are able to spend your cards in order to basically force either a tie, which forces a reroll, or a win. So you can do a little bit of cheating after the fact and win a battle if you are willing to spend cards. Once you've gotten some of your enemies to surrender, some of them you can actually hire to fight for you. So you can actually enlist the Goths after you've defeated them to fight for your army and add a big modifier to a roll. Same thing with the soldiers of Constantine III. Once the followers of the usurper have been left leaderless, you are able to hire them and get them to do stuff for you. Unfortunately, hiring them pisses Olympias off, and then he goes up the track. So there's like, you not only are spending a card, but you are potentially risking your neck back at Rome. If you do it, it is sometimes worth it, however. And in some ways, it's the only way that you can fully win because some of these modifiers are super high and you're just not going to get that lucky that many times without getting the modifiers to your roll. Speaking of Olympias, this dude is a major waste of our time. What a jerk. He will be over here talking smack about us, and sometimes you just have to use some of your energy, spend a card, to get Symmachus over here to talk him down. So you can actually spend cards to take actions to bring Olympias back down the track a little bit, which is good. It's not fun to spend your cards on that, but you also don't want Emperor Honorius to kill you, so there you go. If you're not happy with how you deployed your armies, you can also spend cards to transfer a leader or to transfer comitatenses. So if you do that, make sure that you have enough cards to both move the guys and then achieve the action you were hoping to by moving them. That's my big advice about that. It stinks to have to spend cards on it. Sometimes it happens. You can spend a card to place garrisons. So if things are getting kind of scary and you want to make sure that you're protecting a space, you can put a garrison there. One of the rules about garrisons, by the way, is that, like, for example, you can't just build a garrison right in here if there's someone already in it. And you also can't build a garrison if your enemy is past that spot. So if Constantine III is here, I can't then build a garrison here at Arlate because that's behind his front and that doesn't make any sense. So when you build garrisons, make sure you build them at the right time and early enough. As I mentioned before, unrest and revolt will be happening throughout the provinces. You can spend cards to take actions to try to stop that business. And you can also take an action to end a mutiny, which is one of the things that we are about to do. So fortunately, I only have to discard a card to do it, but what a pain in the rear, wasting my time, gotta dock your pay, You butts. All right, and then to prevent a surge is the last action that is possible. Sometimes you just really don't want to surge. Like if the Goths are in Rome, and it's gonna knock Olympius off the track, and it's just a mess, I don't really want this surge to happen. So there may be times when I decide that I want to take action to prevent it. So you can actually, you can prevent an enemy activation card from being added to this surge space, and you have to do that by spending a card. The problem is that you don't want to just keep spending your cards to do that, because like that keeps you from getting anything else done. So everything in here, everything in this game is about balance and making smart decisions, using what you know at the time, knowing also, of course, that things can change and new fires can emerge anywhere on this lovely map. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is get rid of this mutiny. That just means I have to spend a card. Bleh. All right, so we're just going to discard the action card for that. So the mutiny is gone. And now we can get into some action here. All right, so let me think about what I really want to do. It'd be nice to be able to make the Vandals retreat, but I'm not sure that that's what how important is that to me right now? I'm not sure, especially because like getting them to retreat here is a cheaper move than getting them to retreat from here to like their home space, because that's like a +6 modifier. I have to make decisions about if I want to spend that card that way. I mean, it's cool, but how cool is it really? I don't really need Olympius to retreat right now. So I think I'm going to go ahead and spend allies in the Senate. Let's get in a fight. Who needs allies when you can beat everyone up? So we're going to come at the Goths. I want them to go away. They're hanging out in Rome. They're threatening my garrison, and they're in this siege space. So here's how you resolve a battle. The Goths' value is 5. They don't get this +4 because they're not inside my walled city of Rome. So no, you do not get that modifier. Goths. So they're here. And so they have a value of 5. My buddy Stilicho here has a value of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because there's 5 comitatenses and his leader value is 2. So it's already 7 to 5, and we're going to roll 2d6. I'm going to say the black one is me, Rome, and the red one is the bad guys. All right, so I rolled a 3 and they rolled a 4, but because our modifiers are different, we still win. And that means that the Goths get pushed back. The other thing that's interesting about these die rolls is that if it is your enemy and they roll a 1, they become demoralized and you get to flip them to their weaker side. If they roll a 6, they become emboldened and they flip to their bolder side. If you're playing a Stilicho, that's the only time that 1 or 6 matters. So if you roll a 1, Olympius is like, ha ha ha, and like goes up the track. If you roll a 6, you are like, screw you, Olympius, I'm doing a good job, get down. And he goes down the track. So you got to make sure you're paying attention to those 1s and 6s. So I want to keep going at these guys while I can, especially while their value is only 5. Like let's push these dudes back as much as I can afford. Okay. I don't want to spend Frankish mercenaries yet, and I also want to hold on some cards for the next turn. But I think what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and spend Agentes and Rebus. I might regret it later, but for now, I have no regrets. Let's do it. Okay, so we got a 3, they got a 1. That's excellent. So they retreated and they're on their weaker side now. The question is, do I want to go at them again? Because they could surge and just undo all the progress I just made, which is super irritating. Ugh. But I like my Frankish mercenaries. You know what? I'm going to hold on to these 2 cards and let's just see what happens, because I can hold on to these through the next round and I can choose to let things develop a little bit more before I choose how to spend them, which I think is a good choice. So now we're on round 2. And the enemies get to draw another 3 cards. We are very much at risk of a surge right now. I'm probably just going to let it happen so you can see how they work. All right, so of course, it would be the Goths again. Y'all are such jerks. Okay, so the Goths advance. They are currently demoralized. So what's going to happen is that because they were demoralized, they are going to just flip over to bold and not move forward that time, but they're about to, because we're going to have a surge. Also, I just did this card, so I'll know that I need to do 2 more enemy cards after this. So now it's time to resolve a surge. Surges are terrible. Okay, so activate. Activate. Olympius moves up the track. And now they're going to activate one more time. So we're going to have we're going to resolve a siege at this point, because they can't actually enter Rome without taking out my garrison, and they may just do it. But, you know, we're going to see what we can do first. All right, so to resolve a siege, this is what you do. The Goths have a value of 5. My garrison has a value of 1 plus 4 because it's sitting here in the walled city of Rome. So it's 5 to 5. I'm going to just roll these dice and hope for the best. You can take a reserve action by discarding a card to improve a die roll, but you cannot use your cards to, help a garrison in battle the way that you would one of your own army units, your comitatenses. So all we can do is take a reserve action and hope for the best. So I'm going to roll. Okay, so I got 2, but they got 1. So, haha, now they're demoralized. So now what's going to happen is that the Goths remain in place. They don't actually retreat, but, they're stuck there feeling sad about what they did. All right, let us continue. So now these surge cards all go into discard. Now we've got 2 more cards to draw and resolve. Let's party. So we have Court Intrigues. Okay, so this is Advanced Olympias times 1. And now we have to deal with another mutiny. Thanks, bros. Okay, so this time we did a 6. That is on the Vandals front. So Saris is now dealing with mutiny. Rude. Rude. Oh, and I just realized that when I put down the last mutiny, you were supposed to also advance Olympias to remove it. So he should actually have 1 more than he was because I had removed that mutiny before. And he's about to be up even higher. Delicious. Okay, and then let's do another card. Uh-oh, it's Constantine III. So he's going to come into our little surge track. And he won't move this time, but the cannot attack marker is removed. He is on the go. So that was our entire enemy activation. And then back to me. So now we're going to get 3 new cards. Okay, let's see what we got new. Battle of Verona, the Goths retreat 1 space. This event may not be used if there's a mutiny on that front or if a temporary truce with the Goths is in effect. So you can actually do temporary truces that kind of let you focus on one front and ignore another one. Pretty cool. All right, Battle of Verona is pretty cool. I don't want to use it just yet. Outwit your foes. You can move all cards in surge spaces to the discard pile without their effects taking place. You may play this when a surge takes place, but not one caused by Constantine III on the move. Ooh. So that might be kind of cool to prevent a surge. A militia will let me remove some unrest or revolts, which I don't have, so I'll probably just spend it irresponsibly on something else. And then we've already had these 2. Okay, what do I want to do? Well, the first thing I got to do is deal with this mutiny. Of course, let's go ahead and ditch this militia card. I'll regret this when I have a bunch of revolts, but there you go. We'll advance Olympias, we'll take the mutiny off. You just don't want to let mutinies pile up because you can lose the game that way. So now I got 4 cards to do what I want to do. The Goths certainly need to back up, but okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hope that we don't actually have to retreat the Vandals 1 space because Constantine might do it for me. And I'm just going to eat the next surge. We're going to do it. So I'm going to spin this surge space 1 to go after the Goths. So let's push them back, hopefully, with my Stilicho army. Oh, yeah. Olympias has to move 1 down, and the Goths have to back up. Perfect. Because I got a 6, which makes Olympias back up. Let's discard another card and deal with these Goths. All right, so as much as I'd like the Vandals to retreat 1 space, I want to go ahead and do another Goth battle because getting rid of 1 enemy is just so key to having a good rest of your game that it's really important to me to deal with it. So let's see if we can. All right, so it's only a 1 difference, but they're much lower than us on their stats. So go back. Let's go ahead and have the Battle of Verona force them back another 1. Since it's at Verona, how appropriate. And since this is a history card, this is actually removed from the game, so I'll put it up here. And then we got some spaces left to push them back, but I only have 1 card and I want to hold on. So please, Goths, politely remain in place this turn so I can come at you a little bit more. Ooh. Okay, so now let's have 1 more enemy round and 1 more us round, and that should be enough to kind of demonstrate how this game works. All right, so we got Constantine again. So this circle around him is something that you haven't seen yet. You've just been seeing activations. This means embolden. If your enemy is demoralized, you embolden them and then you advance 1 space, but he's already in the bold, so he's gonna advance. But what's awesome about this, and one of the reasons I decided not to push the Vandals back, because it gives me a chance to show you Constantine III and the Vandals getting into it with each other. So now we can have our enemies fight, which, I mean, why do the work when they can do it for you, right? And then we've marked that was the first card, so I've got 2 more to draw. So let me show you what happens when enemies fight, which I think is something good to resolve in the game. So basically the thing that's going to happen is that in this battle, it's just going to work a lot like our own battles. So Constantine III starts with a 6, the Vandals start with a 4. Let's say that red is Vandals, black is Constantine III. All right, so they tied on the die roll because Constantine III's modifier is higher. Constantine III wins the battle. So now Constantine will take this space, and the Vandals are actually pushed back 1 space along their track by their defeat. So that's how that works. All right, we got 2 more cards left this round. Let's pull, ooh, the Vandals. So we're gonna have a surge, which is not pleasant, but before we do that, we're gonna have to resolve a little bit of a fight because they're gonna come back up and come back at Constantine III. So let's see who wins. Okay, so this time Constantine absolutely smashed them, and so they just have to push back. They did not make it. So that was an easily resolved battle. That was kind of nice because it was a wash for me. But now we're gonna have a surge here. That's oh no in Latin. So Constantine III, no, I already spent that card. I used that surge card to push the Goths, and now I regret it. Okay, so Constantine will come up. Now he will attack my garrison. So let's see, he's got 6, we've got 4. I'll be black, he'll be red. Let's roll. Okay, so actually, hang on. So I had 5, 6, 7, 8, and he had 6, 7, and he got demoralized. Oh, that was lovely. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. So our garrisons have actually held up pretty good this game so far. And now the Vandals are actually going to retreat for their surge. So this is their little dude's head with an arrow moving backwards. So they actually went back. Hey, I'll take it. I will take it. I will take it. I will take it. Okay. Because we're about to have some trouble up in here. So let's do our 3rd card. All right, so now it's Unrest and Septum Provincii. Add an Unrest to the Septum Provincii or flip from Unrest to Revolt. So now we have an Unrest token that will go here. That's not that bad yet, but it can get bad if you don't watch it. All right, now I get to draw 1 single card and see what I want to do. Okay, so I can replenish the ranks. Okay, so deploy as many leaders, comitatenses, or garrisons as you like. And this one's a +2 to a Roman attack value. Okay, what do I want to do? So the thing is, I'm actually really happy with where my armies are at this particular moment, so I don't really want to use that card to redeploy or replenish the ranks. I don't have anybody in the recovery box. We've been good with our battles. So let's spin that card. Let's just keep messing with the Goths. I want them gone. All right, so push. And then the thing is that this card's just good. I want to save that +2 for one of these ones that has a modifier to help me out. So I'm probably just going to hold on to it till the next round. So that's like a full turn. I've done 3 rounds. That's turn 1. I'm doing okay at the moment, but it never lasts. All right, and then we go into what's called housekeeping. So I'll talk you through housekeeping, and then I'll let you go for this video. Although hopefully you've enjoyed it, because I'll probably actually just play this game out now. I get so excited to play that sometimes I like forget myself and just want to keep going. All right, so for housekeeping, here are the things you got to do. You got to check Olympius. He's kind of middle of the road right now. We're okay. I'm not dead yet. Check for defeat. If there are 3 revolt counters on the map during this step, then the game ends due to anarchy. So there are no revolt counters. We're good. It's okay right now. So now we check for mutiny. So if your armies are all in mutiny, so like if both of them were, I would lose the game at this point, but nobody's in mutiny. That's why I deal with mutinies really aggressively, because you just don't want general mutiny. So we're okay on that. If this were the last housekeeping turn of the game, we'd have to see if we were out of time. And then we also would need to remove any truce counters or other special counters that are on the map, but there aren't any right now. And when you encounter that in the game, your cards will instruct you how to do that. If I had excess cards, I would discard them, but I only have 1. I'm allowed to keep 1 from turn to turn. And now we're going to advance the game turn, and we're ready to rumble all over again. And we'll go back to round 1. So that's an overview of Stilicho Last of the Romans, roughly how it works. I really like this game. It's fun. I get so frustrated, but like in a fun way. And, you know, just experimenting with how I want to do my garrisons and how I want to do my armies and where I want to concentrate in order to win. It's all just really a satisfying little adventure. I would say that this game's a little bit better than Wars of Marcus Aurelius. I still love Wars of Marcus Aurelius and we'll keep it. But this one's really cool because I like that the enemies can fight each other. They have little choke points. I actually don't miss dealing with the Eastern Front the way that Marcus Aurelius had to in that game. And I just feel like this whole battle system is really streamlined. And it makes just getting down to the business of figuring out what to do with your cards really exciting. So if you are looking for an introductory war game, you like Rome, I think this is a really great choice. Anybody who's just a regular old hobby gamer can absolutely pick this up and learn it. The rulebook is super clear. I would not anticipate any serious problems figuring out how to play this game. And if you do have questions, well, the comments to this video are open because I want you to play it and I want you to enjoy it. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe, and happy gaming.